the SEC says that a token is a security and was not registered, they seem to at least be implying that something wrong happened there. Not only by the defendant in that case, but they're at least, casting some negative suggestion on the people who were involved in that token in the first place.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Rob Cohen, partner at Davis Polk. I know that there is one particular aspect of the cases that the SEC brought against Binance and Coinbase that you can talk about, and I'm so eager to pick your brain on those, which is the fact that a number of these tokens are being named as securities, indirectly in these, directly, but they're not being named as defendants in these lawsuits. So what are your thoughts on the fact that the SEC is doing this?
I think it's pretty unfair. It's having a real impact on real people and real businesses. It's unfair. They're named in a government complaint. The tokens are named in a government complaint. And the people who created those tokens or whose businesses or livelihoods are really intertwined with those tokens are hugely impacted by those allegations, but they're not a party. They're not there to defend themselves. And I understand why the SEC does it. I worked at the SEC for a very long time and think very highly of the agency and the people there, but I do think this particular context is unfair.
Let's talk a little bit about why you think the SEC is doing that.
I think they would say it's similar to when they bring an insider trading case. So if they sue somebody for insider trading, they typically will say in the complaint what company's stock that person traded. And I think they view it somewhat similarly, but I actually think it's different.
Why you think it's different?
In an insider trading case, if a company's stock is being traded, by somebody who's committing insider trading, nobody's thinking particularly negatively about that company. In fact, that company is a victim. It's their information that is being misused. And certainly there's no allegation or suggestion that a company whose stock is traded is itself doing something wrong or committing a securities law violation. But with these crypto cases, it's very different. When the SEC says that a token is a security and was not registered, they seem to at least be implying that something wrong happened there. Not only by the defendant in that case, but they're at least, casting some negative suggestion on the people who were involved in that token in the first place.
One other thing that's so curious is, as you mentioned, these platforms, Binance and Coinbase, they have hundreds of tokens. So it sort of seems kind of unfair that the SEC has just picked a few, especially some of the bigger ones that actually probably are a little bit more legitimate than some of the other tokens that are listed. So I was curious, why do you think the SEC chose the ones it did?
It's a good question, and it's hard to say. And I do agree. I'm sure they had reasons for picking the tokens that they picked. But out of the hundreds of tokens that trade on these platforms, there is a seeming element of real bad luck and randomness in getting singled out to be one of the 10 or 12 tokens that are mentioned when there's hundreds that could have been. And when you think about a government taking action, that sort of randomness seems rather unfair. If the SEC were passing rules, it affects everyone the same way and people have a chance to comment. So why the SEC picked them? It seems like they may have picked tokens that represent different types of industries within the crypto world and tokens of different sizes. But, they certainly obviously are not saying, how or why they picked those. And by the way, this may never get decided. These tokens get named in a complaint, but these complaints may never actually go to trial. They might get settled. They might get dismissed for other reasons. There's all kinds of reasons why there may never actually be a decision on whether that token is a security. For example, this came up in the insider trading case the SEC filed not that long ago. And in that case, they named a number of tokens. And this process happened then where these tokens were named, they were not parties, they could not defend themselves. And then those individuals who were accused of insider trading are largely settling. So, those allegations are out there, but they're never going to get decided by a judge or a jury. And in the Coinbase and Binance complaints, those cases could easily litigate for years. Look at the Ripple litigation. How long has that been going on? That's been going on for years. And there, Ripple is present to defend itself. Here, these allegations may be out there for years. They may never get decided. It's very different.